What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, brought to you by, guess who? The fine folks over at Fightful.com. I am Nick. Joining me is Tim. Tim, how you doing?
Well, what's going on? Doing pretty good.
Right on, ladies and gentlemen. And to break the mold, to change things up, to be new, to be born again, we're not starting or even including small Raw and SmackDown notes this week because there are none. There are none this week, but we do have some fun things to talk about that I feel like haven't quite been talked about a little too much, or they might have been talking to the ground. There's no middle ground, though. We're going to be talking about WWE Super Showdown, and then WWE's newest Saudi Arabian event, Crown Jewel. We're also going to have interviews from Johnny Impact and a nice little clip from the list and ya boy. So, starting off with WWE Super Showdown. Sean writes, WWE had a really strict cutoff time of 9 a.m. Eastern for their WWE Super Showdown event last Saturday. Miz and Daniel Bryan was supposed to be a short match anyway, but had a few minutes cut from it as well, which was a huge shock to not only me, but the crowd as well. They didn't know how to take it. We're told that WWE only flew over those that are needed for the show, and many who expected to be flown over there were surprised that they weren't. WWE isn't making the amount of money on the Australian show that they're going to with the Saudi Arabia deal, which we're going to get into in a bit. So it wasn't like a, quote, all hands on deck type situation. Several people who were even at the Greatest Royal Rumble event weren't even brought over there, while mainly the people who were competing on the show were sent to Australia. Vince McMahon didn't make the trip to Australia, which is kind of no surprise, according to one source, which is becoming more of a norm as he gets older. Triple H and Kevin Dunn were in charge of the show, and those we heard from who were there said that they considered it a success all around, which I'd have to agree, it was a relatively well put together show.
Oh yeah, I liked it.
WWE had actually changed the canvas out just before the main event, and they had something like three what?
There was like 3 canvases covering the ring that they changed out.
Interesting. Sean phrased that very interestingly.
No, he said there was 3 there tied down.
Oh, 3 there. I read that as like 3 tied down to the ring just in case. They had something like 3 there tied down to the ring just in case.
Yeah.
So Saudi Arabia, I'd call that, aside from the main event, a success. I think the show went over super well. I think having the Iconics and Buddy Murphy win probably sold the deal for... God, that Buddy Murphy match. Good Lord. That man is a wrestler.
Oh yeah, he's good.
That man is a wrestler. The show went smoothly. It reminded me a lot of a New Japan show. One match ends, next one's getting started. Only a couple matches had video packages to it, which I liked. Matches that didn't need video packages didn't get video packages. So,
and I know
Go ahead.
I know Triple H was asked if they're going to return to the Australia, and I have it right here. He was asked if they're going to turn. Excuse me. Triple H was asked by media if they will return to Australia next year in 2019. He said that they don't know if they're going to do another big show like Super Showdown, but they do want to do a 3-day, 3-city tour in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. And he also expects them to have an NXT tour by 2020.
That'd be cool. I'd really, really like if that was to happen. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so it's unknown if they're going to have another big pay-per-view like show, but they at least want to make it more of a regular thing to go down there.
Exactly. So, one of my favorite former WWE superstars probably has to be John Morrison. Dude, his theme song was so good.
Yeah. Have you seen him on Survivor?
Yeah, I've seen him on Survivor. Survivor's been a show that's been running since, it's before I was born, and that's a long time. That's 19 years.
I think it's right around there.
So we're going to send you over right now to an interview that Johnny Impact or Johnny Blackcraft or Johnny whatever promotion he has to be wrestling for that week did with Fightful.com. Take it away, guys.
Wait a minute. You know how Austin Aries feels about his height. Hey, let's not make any short jokes, bro. I don't want to be short-shaming Austin. You know, he gets sensitive. All kidding aside, you can't take anything away from Austin Aries' ability in the ring. And he's been in this business for a very long time. He's clearly been very successful. And you know what they say in wrestling? There's a rule of threes. In comedy, there's a rule of threes. I'm Irish. Third time's the charm. it feels like to me that this time it's going to be my time. I've had a couple of shots with Austin Aries in the ring, and I've never been more ready than I am right now. I've never been more motivated than I am right now. I don't know. You read the tweets that he was throwing at me and Taya, but a lot of people saw those things, and they're motivating. I'll just put it that way. It's almost refreshing to feel this motivated to whoop someone's ass. And on Sunday, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
And if you guys do want to hear the full interview, head over to Fightful.com or, of course, the Fitful YouTube channel. We are going to talk a little bit about Saudi Arabia. And I have some things to say after we talk about what Sean wrote, and it may turn into a little fiery hot take in here.
Uh-oh.
We're going to let Tim take it for now. Tim, what did Sean write about WWE Saudi Arabia?
All right, so Sean writes, last Saturday, WWE confirmed to Fightful.com that the venue for Crown Jewel was switched from the King Fahd International Stadium to the King Saudi University Stadium. King Fahd International Stadium has a noted capacity of 68,752. The King Fahd University Stadium is listed at much less, only around 25,000. Now, he goes on to write that it's worth noting that this wasn't due to slow tickets. It wasn't due to ticket sales at all. He said, my request for comment on the move went under-returned beyond the confirmation after Fightful's Andrew Thompson spotted the change. Now, from what I've heard, when I first reported, hey, they changed the venue, locals in Saudi Arabia actually commented and said, hey, we've seen that they've been doing construction at the actual King Fahd International Stadium. So I don't know if that's the reason for the change, but that's what I was told by apparently people who say they're local. I can't confirm that they're locals,
right?
But they did say, hey, it's not just we want a smaller place. It looks like there's construction going on at the actual venue.
I mean, you know, regardless of the stadium change, regardless of the venue change and all of that, I still think that the Saudi Arabia show is going to not live up to the quote-unquote hype that WWE seems to be giving it. Yes, there is a phenomenal match with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles for the WWE title. Yes, there is a pretty decent, what I assume is going to main event with Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar pitting against each other for that WWE Universal title that Roman is holding right now. But the thing that kind of sticks in my craw the most, and things that has really, really been on my nerves, has been that whole return and unretirement of Shawn Michaels. And, you know, bringing Shawn out of retirement for this, it's, I've said it before, as a fan, it's hard for me to watch because you start to realize, man, I used to love this guy. He was part of so many important moments in wrestling, and now he's just part of a money scheme, and which I'm sure he didn't even want to come out of retirement. I'm sure they just said, hey, we'll offer you a ton of money.
Yeah. Probably
I'm sure they said you will literally be able to pay for your grandchildren's grandchildren to go to college in 9,000 years. And he said yes. And I don't blame him. I would say yes too. But I morally myself, I don't want to see this happen. I regretted staying awake for that Australian pay-per-view, the main event. I regretted staying awake. I worked 3 hours later. I regretted staying awake for that. It was not enjoyable. Both men were gassed by the end. Shawn Michaels took more bumps than both other men. Kane took a bump and a half through a table. Why are these guys now in a match that shouldn't be happening? Why are we getting a tag team match with someone that just lost to The Undertaker 2 straight WrestleManias, 25 and 26, and arguably some of the best WrestleMania matches of all time? Why is it happening again? Why? Why are they tarnishing the history of that match? I don't understand, man. I don't get it.
And here's my thing. It's like Shawn Michaels stayed, what was it, 8 years he stayed retired?
8 years, man.
And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to come back? Like, there's a reason he's coming back now. Maybe he needs
because money is great. And yes, they probably have plans for him to continue to wrestle, which, dear God, I really hope it's against the right people, or else this could end really, really badly.
Right. I mean, it's like there's got to be some sort of either he needs the money or they're just offering a butt ton of money.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't blame him.
I don't know the exact. I can't say why he would come back after all this time. I know some people have speculated that he may need the money, and that's why he took the job at the Performance Center, moved his whole family to Florida.
Florida's just a nice place. I wouldn't mind living in Florida.
I mean, he had basically his own ranch in Texas.
Yeah, but man, Florida's so nice. It's got always warmish weather, and it rains sometimes, and I love the rain. They've also got Publix there, and Publix are like the greatest grocery stores in the world.
Interesting.
If you live somewhere where you have a Publix, can you go buy Publix like branded sugar? You know those sugar cookies that you get during Halloween? That's basically like a shortcake with like really bad frosting on top, and they're for like $2.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, those are probably the greatest cookies ever made. Go buy some and then eat them for me right now. But I really want to know what you guys think of this, of the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view crown jewel of the movement of stadiums, of Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, or any other matches on the card that have been announced so far.
And especially with, I guess, I don't want to get too political here, but the news that came out this week of the Saudi prince and the Saudi government apparently having I don't even know the whole story, but it was a Washington Post journalist killed.
Yeah.
And now there's people writing up stories saying that America should take action on this, and they shouldn't add any more work with Saudi Arabia. Fox News wrote up an article criticizing WWE for working with them, and WWE did release a statement, which this statement does lead me to believe they're going to wait to the last minute to cancel this show. Their statement said, "We are monitoring the situation." That's it.
Yep.
So
it's the kind of situation where Vince probably thinking to himself, money, 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 and the wrestlers are thinking, I have a family. AJ has kids. A lot of these wrestlers have children. Like, that's so scary, dude.
Here's my thing. If you remember Greatest Royal Rumble, they played video packages talking about how the government's so great. The government's gonna soon let women drive and all this.
Well, duh, that country's gonna play such our government's great.
But could WWE now go in there and legitimately air video packages like that?
No, they can't. They can't.
That's the whole thing.
This whole thing is a whole propaganda thing, and it's scary. It's whatever's gonna happen is gonna be scary. I don't know if they're gonna go. I in the back of my mind as someone that has both my parents here and an older brother and grandparents, the idea of my dad going to work somewhere else and then not coming back because something happened, it's scary, man. I get it's a lucrative thing to happen, but
right. And like I said, I told you off air, I said they've got guys they got to pay big money to. Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker. They donated $100,000 for Kane to come. I said Shawn Michaels already. Triple H probably getting a good payday for this. And it's basically not coming out of their pocket if they go to do the Saudi Arabia show. If they don't do the Saudi Arabia show, but they still want to do the DX versus Brothers of Destruction match, now, say they wait and do that at Survivor Series, that's got to come out of their pocket, not
which I feel like
$50 million or whatever it is they're getting from Saudi Arabia.
I feel like all of the names you mentioned, except for Brock, wouldn't mind taking a pay cut because they understand that they probably don't want to risk themselves like that. But
yeah, I could see that, and then I could also
I feel like Brock's the kind of guy that's going to be like, no, you offered me this much, I'm going to receive this much.
Exactly.
But with that, we're going to turn it over to a very lighter, happier Leaf. This week on the list, you boy, there's a bit of a
no. There was no list in your boy.
It was just the list. No, it's just your boy.
The boy. So we're going to send it over to a clip of Sean Ross Sapp's his Fightful Wrestling podcast from this week.
Enjoy.
That's what
folks.
he titled it.
Enjoy.
So, I mean, you are a bit of a belt historian as well, and we always get questions like on our Q&A shows that I think are better suited for you. Championships that weren't used. I think there's a common misconception that I think it was actually you that cleared up for me. The Mabel King of the Ring Championship, that wasn't a WWE-made championship, correct?
Correct. That was a belt that Mabel had made on his own after he left the company. He reached out to Reggie Parks. Dave Milliken had that belt made. Mabel owned it. If you notice, if you look at that belt, it does have WWF, but it's in a font. It is not in the copyrighted WWF block logo. So that is a belt that Mabel used on the independents. He would defend it. And mostly it was used, I seen him several times with it. He would have it at a gimmick table and charge fans, $10, $15 to take a picture with him at the belt. The belt certainly, based on its size, it's very unique. So if you're a fan, even if you don't know much about wrestling, you're going to get drawn over to that and you're going to want to learn more. So it was a great marketing ploy by Mabel to just get people interested in him.
Now,
And
was this after his final run as Vissa, or did he do this between like one of his several runs?
no, he got it made before Viscera.
Okay.
There was a time where I believe he was away from the company for a little bit after Men on a Mission. He had that made on his own, and actually that belt, he sold it before he passed away. He sold it. It bounced around to a few places, and it's actually owned by a friend of mine who has it in his private collection. And should he hear this, he might choose to tweet a current day picture of it. So fingers crossed.
I felt like I saw that person post and say that one of the reasons why he didn't post photos of that was because of basically counterfeits and replicas that have been created or attempted, or maybe the fear of such. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the biggest issue in the whole belt collecting community right now is just counterfeits.
Yeah.
Anybody who posts a picture of a belt, or for example, any of these leaked belts that are coming out, within days there will be counterfeits on Amazon, on eBay, on Facebook Marketplace. There are several companies over in Pakistan that are whipping out low quality replicas in bulk.
Oh yeah, they hit me up. They email me often trying to sell belts.
Yes. If you're a member of a Facebook group, they pretty much join the group. They get an instant list of however many 100 or 1,000 members there are there. And then they just send mass message. And unfortunately, there's a lot of collectors out there who don't know the intricacies of what to look for in an authentic belt. So you have somebody come to you offering something that might look good enough to an uneducated eye. The price point is where you want it to be. And then these people are spending money on something that they get in the mail and realize is a piece of junk. So it's a big issue right now.